There are mornings when I wake up after 8 hours of sleep, and my body feels as if someone is pressing a weight onto my chest. My head is foggy, my steps heavy, and even the alarm sounds like a mocking echo. Yet on other days, I sleep only 5 or 6 hours and wake up surprisingly clear, as if my whole body has been recharged. This strange feeling keeps making me ask, why does more sleep make me tired, and less sleep make me awake? And have I perhaps misunderstood how my own sleep really works all these years? And the surprising thing is, none of this is your fault. Your body doesn't operate by the simple logic of more sleep equals more energy. The real issue is that your brain doesn't think in hours. It thinks in cycles. When you wake up at the wrong moment, it feels as if you're being ripped out of a dream still in motion. It's not the amount of sleep that determines how you feel, but the moment at which your body is actually ready to wake up. When I begin to truly observe my sleep, I realize that my brain moves through a kind of invisible rhythm every night. It's as if a silent orchestra is playing, and each section has its own purpose. First, I sink into a light sleep, where my body is resting but still ready to react to a soft sound. Then, I slide deeper into a phase where my body repairs, organizes, and heals. In that weightless state, everything feels as if I'm far away from the world, and any attempt to wake up feels like being forcefully pulled out. After about 90 minutes, another layer begins, where my thoughts flicker like tiny sparks through my mind. This is where dreams form, memories find their place, and emotions from the day get sorted. This part is lighter, softer, but still not the point where my body is truly ready to wake up. And then, somewhere between one phase and the next, there is a brief moment of stillness. It's the transition back into light sleep before a new cycle begins. Waking up at that moment would feel like gently opening a window, not like tearing a door off its hinges. But if I accidentally set my alarm between these layers, it pulls me out of a repair process or a dream. No wonder my head feels heavy, and my limbs act like they refuse to start the day. The stickman inside me then stumbles through a room of dim light, his whole system still stuck in maintenance mode. But when he wakes up at the right moment, the same room appears clearer, his body lighter, his breathing calmer. It's the same sleep, the same night, just a different point in the invisible rhythm. And suddenly I realized that it was never about how many hours I stayed in bed, but whether I woke up in sync with my own inner metronome. The longer I think about it, the clearer it becomes that all those exhausted mornings say nothing about how disciplined I am or how well I can sleep. I was simply working against a rhythm my body had long known, but I had never understood. It was never a personal failure when I felt tired despite 8 hours of sleep. I'm not weak, and my willpower isn't the problem. I was merely trying to use a system that wasn't built for me. And the moment I understand that my body doesn't need more sleep, but the right moment to wake up, that quiet pressure inside me dissolves. I realize that I'm not broken. I was just out of sync. When I finally understand that my body thinks in cycles and not in hours, a new picture begins to form. Suddenly, there is no longer this chaos, where every night I simply hope to get enough sleep. Instead, a system emerges that feels like a gentle map guiding me through the night. And the clearer I see these steps, the calmer my inner stickman becomes. The one who used to wander aimlessly through the darkness. Now he knows where he needs to go and why. The first step is making sure the moment I wake up isn't left to chance. When I know what time my day should begin, I count backward from there in 90-minute intervals. It's like rewinding a film until the scene fits back into place. And when I find the point where my body will likely be in light sleep, a kind of silent agreement forms between me and my inner rhythm. The stickman inside me sits at the edge of his little bed and waits for the exact moment when his body is ready to get up on its own, rather than being yanked awake. But this system works only if I allow my body to truly wind down. That's why the second step doesn't begin in bed, but hours earlier. When I dim the lights 2 hours before going to sleep, it feels like I'm slowly closing the day, like a door that moves quietly without creaking. My stickman gradually turns off the small lamps in his room until only a soft twilight remains. The world becomes calmer, and my body understands that evening has begun. The third step starts 1 hour before bed when I put away the screens. It's surprising how much the absence of blue light calms my mind. Without all the stimuli that keep me active, my brain can finally slow down. The stickman places his phone on a small table, pushes it away, almost as if he's saying, "Not now." This is the time when I return to myself, maybe reading a few pages or observing my breath. The noise of the world fades. 30 minutes before bed, the fourth step begins. I lower the temperature, and suddenly the room feels fresher, like a gentle breeze surrounding my body. My stickman adjusts his thin blanket, feeling his body sink more easily as the cool air allows him to let go. The warmth accumulated throughout the day finally escapes. It's a small ritual that calms my body without needing a single word. Right before I get into bed comes the fifth step, the one that changes everything. I write down the thoughts that try to hold on to my mind. Everything that weighs on me goes onto paper, so my brain doesn't have to guard it through the night. In this moment, my stickman sits at a small desk, placing each worry down like a stone, one stone at a time, until the weight on his shoulders becomes noticeably lighter. Only when the last thought is set aside does he stand, stretch, and go to bed with a calm he never knew before. The final step happens in the morning. I don't wake myself with a shock, but with light. When brightness slowly enters my room, it feels like someone gently opening the curtain of a new day. My stickman lifts his head carefully, not out of fear, but curiosity. And when he moves his body just a little, the day begins in a different tone. No struggle, no heaviness, but a quiet beginning that allows my body to truly wake up. It is this rhythm that makes the difference. And once I find it, every morning begins with my body not working against me, but with me. When I look back at my old nights, I realize how often I did exactly the things that made my sleep quieter and more fragile. I expected my body to recover instantly, even though I had flooded it with light and stimulation until the very last minute. Often I tried to change everything at once, full of determination and pressure, only to wake up disappointed the next morning because nothing went the way I imagined. Sometimes I even believed that a few minutes on my phone wouldn't make much difference, when in reality they stole exactly the calm my mind needed. And the more I got frustrated with these mistakes, the further I drifted from the rhythm I was trying to find. Only when I understood that every small step matters and that patience is part of the system did something begin to change. Sleep was no longer a battle, but a space I could slowly return to. The further I walk on this path, the more I realize that change never happens in one big leap, but in quiet, almost invisible moments. You don't have to prove anything, and you don't have to outperform anyone. Your body is simply learning to breathe in its own rhythm again, and it's completely okay if that takes time. You are not someone who constantly fails. You are someone who is slowly realigning, step by step, night after night. Maybe it doesn't feel perfect yet, but every evening in which you become just a little more aware brings you closer to a calm that has always been inside you. You don't need to achieve 80% every day. Sometimes a few centimeters in the right direction are enough to make a difference. The longer I connect with my own rhythm, the clearer it becomes that I am not someone who desperately tries to finally rest. I am someone who has learned to work with his body instead of against it. The morning belongs to me, not because I sleep perfectly, but because I am willing to begin each day a little more consciously. And maybe you too can feel that something inside you is rearranging itself, quietly, yet clearly enough to make a difference. You are not the person who gives up tired. You are the person who becomes stronger in small steps. If this thought stays with you and helps you find your own rhythm, then feel free to stay here so we can continue growing together.